A Void to be Filled by Sophia Filippi, Wilbur Wright School, 7th grade. Now. I stare out at the icy world. I watch as the sky cries frozen tears through the thick glass. I look over at my heater sitting in the corner. It looks so lonely. If only it had a heater friend, it would be much happier. So much happier. My thoughts are interrupted by a hard knock at my door. I ignore it. Another knock. I ignore it again. A third knock, this time with a grunt. I roll my eyes as I get out of bed, torn away from the silence. I grab onto the door handle and pull it open quickly. I look up to find two blue orbs staring back at me. My father is smiling brightly at me with his hands behind his back. My father has taught me to walk with confidence, with pride, just like he does. Arms behind his back with a tight smile plastered across his face. He learned that in the Navy. I remember that because he told me when I was 9. He was teaching me how to stay strong and walk tall. That's how he's always been and will be. He clears his throat, and that bright, tight smile has now disappeared. His eyes look tired. He must miss them so much. I can't imagine what it's like to have loved someone for most of your life and then suddenly lose them in just one night. Dinner's done. I was hoping you would come downstairs and eat with me, he says, his eyes now hopeful. When I don't answer him, he sighs and his head falls. He stares at the ground for a moment before looking back up. Please, I would really appreciate the company. It would mean a lot to me, Sarah. When I hear my name come from his lips, it makes me frown slightly. I glance down at the ground and look back up with a forced smile. I nod my head slowly and whisper the word sure, silently. His face lightens up and he nods his head quickly. Okay, great. I'll set the table while you make your way down. He's smiling now from ear to ear. He turns around and starts to make his way down the hallway. I watch as he resists skipping down the steps. I can't help but smile as I shut my door and head downstairs. When I step into the dining room, I see my father scooping noodles from the large pot in the middle of the table onto his plate. I walk over and take my seat next to him. As I scoot my chair in, I can feel his eyes boring a hole into the side of my head. He hands me the spoon as he smiles welcomingly at me. I take the spoon gently and dip it into the pot. I scoop my noodles up, but I get distracted by the 2 empty chairs across from me. I haven't sat at this table since that night. It suddenly feels lonely in this room, as if I'm the only one here. My father follows my sight of vision and takes the spoon from my hand. He continues to put the noodles on my plate. My sight is focused entirely on the 2 chairs. It's strange. You think that losing a family member would be depressing. You imagine it would be sad, but you'd get over it eventually. Well, you're wrong. Losing them hasn't been sad or depressing. It's been lonely. It cancels out everyone else in your life, and suddenly they were the only people that mattered. It leaves an empty space in you, a void, one that you imagine can't be filled, one that feels as if it's been there forever. My father puts his hand on my shoulder, and it causes me to glance up at him. His smile is apologetic. His eyes are sad. He's trying to comfort me. I can see that. Though in this situation, nothing can truly comfort you. Not even your father. I'm fine, really. I just thought I saw a spider or something. I lie, smiling like nothing's wrong. For some reason, it seems embarrassing to let your guard down in front of others. It's really nothing to be embarrassed about, but it just is. I pick up my fork and twirl it around in the noodles. I do this for about 10 minutes before my father sighs. I look over at him and his plate is already cleared. I'm sorry, I'm not really hungry. Is it okay if I just head up to bed? I say, my voice almost a whisper. He looks at me for a moment and nods slowly. I'll put your food away. Just go upstairs and get some rest. I'll be gone by the time you wake up, so if you need anything, call me, okay? He smiles, his voice low. I nod and scoot my chair out. I hear him take my plate into the kitchen while I go upstairs. I make my way to my room and shut my door quietly behind me. It's dark and silent in my room. I walk over to my bed and sit down. I rest my back against the headboard as I close my eyes and take a deep breath. 1 year ago. My brother bursts into my room and jumps on my bed before I can even blink my eyes. He wraps his arm around the back of my neck and starts to scratch my head. I struggle as I push him off, laughing, annoyed by his sneak attack antics. I kick him off my bed and pinch his ear. "Ow! What was that for?" he screams, acting as if I stabbed him in the chest. "For being you," I roll my eyes, laughing. He slaps his hand against his chest, trying to look offended. I walk back to my bed and sit down. My brother follows and lays down. He grunts and rolls onto his side to look at me. "So guess what I saw today," he says, smiling his I'm up to no good smile. "What did you see today, Marcus?" I sigh, rolling my eyes. He laughs a little and clears his throat. "When I was unloading the groceries from Mom's car, I saw that skateboard you've been asking for." My face lightens up when I hear that. I've been asking for that skateboard for almost 2 years now. I can't help but smile at the thought of me on my skateboard down at the park. Boarding up and down the rails sounds like a dream. I think my brother notices me smiling because he ruins the moment. "I never said it was for you." He stares at me blankly. That takes the smile right off my face. I didn't even stop to think of that. My parents could have gotten it for another family member. My brother stares at me for one more moment before he bursts out into laughter. "I'm joking. Obviously it's for you. How many people do you think Mom and Dad know that like to skateboard?" "Exactly none." He rolls his eyes and pulls himself off my bed. As he gets up, I attempt to smack his back. Before I can, he turns around quickly and yells, "Too slow." He laughs and runs out of the room, leaving my door wide open. Now. I stare out at the sun on the grass as it makes an attempt to hide away from the world, the colors surrounding it showing comfort and support. The world has become too much for it, so it wants to leave. It feels alone and tired. It just wants to be understood, acknowledged. I hear a noise in the distance, something like a scream. I look over to see where the noise is coming from. I see a figure going straight at a quick speed. It seems as if they're chasing after someone or something. They're coming at me quicker now, becoming clearer. Whatever the figure was chasing is coming towards me now. It's getting closer and closer. I feel like I should probably be running or something, but I simply can't move. Whatever's coming towards me is probably a rabid animal, and it's probably going to try to kill me. Most likely it will. That's if I don't move or try to fight it off. I think it's testing me, seeing if I choose to live or not. Marcus would want you to. I start to get up, but the animal jumps on me. I hear a gasp come from my mouth, and suddenly I'm laying on the ground. My face is being licked, which is odd behavior for a rabid animal. Whatever the animal is, it's extremely heavy. I know this because it's standing on top of me. "Down, Conrad, down, boy!" I hear someone yell. His voice is deep and familiar. Very familiar. The animal jumps off me, and it extracts a grunt out of me. My eyes are still closed when I'm being pulled up. I open my eyes slowly, readjusting to the light. When I open my eyes, there is a guy standing in front of me who looks like... Oh my gosh. He's smiling brightly and saying something. I'm not sure what he's saying because I'm too busy paying attention to his face. The resemblance is uncanny. Very uncanny. I don't think it's possible to look so much like one person. It's actually kind of creepy, to be honest. I can't help it. Suddenly, I burst out laughing, my laughter filling the whole park. The guy is staring at me like I'm crazy. Maybe I am. I don't know. I'm sorry, you just look a lot like... I can't stop laughing. I think I'm scaring him too, but I just can't stop laughing. As I'm laughing, I see the guy holding the animal by a leash. It's a dog. The dog is staring at me too. It thinks I'm insane. Suddenly, I'm not laughing anymore. I'm just staring at the dog as it stares back at me. I look back up to find the guy with concern clouding his face. "Are you okay?" he says, as he looks scared or worried or all of the above. I force myself to smile as I nod slowly. I look down at the ground as I gather my thoughts. I should tell him that he looks like Marcus. Like, really looks like Marcus. He probably doesn't care, though. He doesn't even know me. Maybe I should just come up with an excuse. Or I could just tell him. Either sounds good. Yes, I'm fine. I'm sorry if I freaked you and your dog out. Oh no, you're fine. I'm sorry if me and my dog freaked you out. I don't know what got into him. He's always been a good walker, but today he kept pulling me towards, well, you. I laugh a little, and so does he. I'm Dylan, and this is Conrad. Nice to meet you. He nods his head towards the dog and puts his hand out. I'm Sarah. Nice to meet you too. I take his hand and shake it. I let go and sit back down on the grass. Conrad pulls Dylan and sits next to me. Now, me and Conrad are staring out at the sunset along with Dylan. I think Conrad is my new best friend. So, what did you find so funny about me? You said I looked like someone, but you didn't say who, Dylan says, looking over at me. I look over at him. I have to move a little to see his face because Conrad is blocking the way. I know this sounds crazy, but you look almost exactly like my brother. It kind of freaked me out. Oh, I'm sorry. There's no need to apologize. It was nice to see his face again, so thanks for looking exactly like him. Oh, anytime? I laugh, and he laughs too. I turn to look straight forward. It's silent between us for a few minutes. The sun is starting to disappear and hide away from the world. I should probably get home. My dad will be worried. So what's your brother's name? He asks, still looking at me. This question startles me. The question should be, what was your brother's name, and not what's your brother's name? Marcus. I'm still staring straight forward. Dylan doesn't get the hint that I don't want to talk about my brother, so he keeps asking questions. And where's Marcus tonight? Now this question causes me to look at him. He's genuinely fascinated. You can tell from the look on his face. It takes me a while before I answer. How do I answer this question? I haven't answered a question like this because everybody already knows. Finally, I take a deep breath and answer. He died. 4 months, 5 days, and 26 minutes ago, to be exact. I look down at my feet as I say this because I don't want to see the reaction on his face. It's almost 10 minutes when he speaks. I'm so sorry for your loss. I wouldn't have asked if I knew. He says this with sincerity, remorse. He stands up and wipes the grass off his pants. It's almost dark now. I should definitely get going. Talking with him was nice. I want to talk to him again. Maybe it's because he reminds me of Marcus, or maybe because I like his dog. All I know is that I want to keep talking to him, so I blurt something out. My mother died too. She was picking up my brother from his soccer match when it started raining. It was too dark and the roads were too wet. He stops picking the grass off his pants and just stares at me. Conrad is laying on my lap, snoring louder than anyone or anything I've ever heard. Dylan sits back down and starts talking. He talks about his family, himself, and all about Conrad. For a while, I forget what has happened. He's trying to distract me, and it's working. He's talking when a phone rings. It's my phone ringing. I pick it up, and it's from my father. I forgot how late it was. I answer quickly. I'm fine, I promise. I'm on my way home, don't worry, I say to him, standing up. Okay, don't take too long. You know I don't like you out too late. He gets really worried when I stay out without letting him know I'm okay. Okay, I'll be home soon. I hang up and gather my stuff from off the ground. You have to go? Dylan asks, as if we weren't done talking. Yes, my father wants me home. Okay, will I see you again? Maybe. 8 months later. I'm reading this week's news report when the doorbell rings. I get up from my chair and head towards the door. As I open the door, my father comes downstairs. Dylan is standing with Conrad by his side, with a smile on his face. I kneel down and give Conrad a kiss on his head. My father greets Dylan and heads toward the kitchen to get the snack ready. I stand up and the two of them come into the house. Dylan unleashes Conrad and hangs it up by the door. So what movie are we watching tonight? Dylan asks, taking off his shoes. Every Sunday, we have had a movie night ever since Dylan started coming over. It has become a thing that we do every week. Dylan has become part of our family, bringing me and my dad closer together. I was thinking Beetlejuice for tonight's movie. Okay, sounds good. He smiles, and my father walks into the room with a large bowl of popcorn and some sodas. He sets them down on the table, and we tell him the movie. My father smiles to himself as he gets it ready. We all get comfortable on the couch and start off our movie night. Happy birthday, Marcus.